Okay, so today I want to record a short video about how to make better looking presentations and reports when using Cadence Virtuoso for projects and um, labs and whatnot. So I have a quick example here of what I would call, that's not terrible, but it's kind of a bad presentation. And you don't want to do this because on my computer you might be able to see it fine, but if I put this up on a projector and try to show a bunch of people, it's really hard to see. So let's take a look at this. So we have our bad presentation. Here's our schematic. It's got all these annoying dots. It's dark. If I put this on a screen, you're probably not gonna be able to see it hardly at all. Um, Things are kind of like what's going on here with these resistors and just a little bit tricky to see. Here's a layout. It's kind of low resolution, which this is a big layout, so it's kind of hard to get high resolution, but there's a bunch of clutter all over. I don't really know what's going on. And then here's some results. And I'm not really told what these results are for, or again, it's got the black background, so this might not show up very well on if you project it, it might be really hard to see. Um, so I want to give a couple guidelines about how to make better looking screenshots and stuff. So let's start our better presentation. So let's start off with the schematic picture. So here I have my cadence. This is an LNA I designed. It's an OK LNA. And let's look at how to make a better looking picture. So the first thing I would do is just space everything out so you can see stuff. So like here, this ground label is overlapping with the dimensions of the transistor. So let's just grab this. Okay. Oh, I need to make it. All right, my bad. To make this editable. Okay. Sorry about that. Now I can edit it. Okay, so I'll take this label and I'll just drag it out here. So you can still see it's connected here, but it's out of the way. We'll do the same thing with this. And then let's say I'll select all this, just drag it out. I'll maybe do this like this. And I'll grab these resistors, kind of space these out. I want to keep it pretty compact, but I want to space it out so you can see what's going on a little bit better. And these ground ties are a little bit difficult to see, so let's delete these. And we'll make this like this. Make a couple copies. Okay, now we can see that better. I'll put this down here so we can see what's going on down here. This out. This one down. This one down. Okay, so I would say that now we can see what's going on. Oops. A lot better. So the next thing I want to do is if I'm like zoomed out, I can hit F to fit it. And if I still want to zoom in a little bit more, or I want to zoom in on something specific, then I can hold down the right button on my mouse, right click button on my mouse, drag and like select an area and then let go and it'll zoom in. So there you can see I kind of didn't zoom in quite right. So let's zoom in like that so I can get a little bit better resolution. And then to get rid of these dots, you can hit O, and that pulls up this display options. And then under grid controls, select none, hit OK, and that gets rid of all the dots. Now to take the picture, we're going to go to File, and then Export Image. It's going to pull up this window. In this window, we're going to select Bicolor under Appearance, and then hit this little swap button to make the background white and the front black. And then you can either save this to a file, and you can select your file type. I'll just do PNG. I'm going to copy it to the clipboard. And then what I usually like to do is I just open up Teams in the browser and I send it to myself so I can get it on my personal computer. And so now if I pull up my Teams on the other side, here it is. I'll go ahead and copy it. And now I can open my better presentation and paste it in. I'll give this I'll just give it a title. I don't know. Label your stuff well. So we'll call this common source generated LNA schematic. Let's say we'll call this like final design. You can put this in here. You can crop it if you need to. And we'll go ahead and make this about as big as we can. There we go. So now we have a much better, compare this to this, it's a lot easier to see, especially on a projector screen. I can make it even a little bit bigger and send it to the back. There we go. Okay, now let's do our layout. So going back to Cadence, and if you want to put this back, you can hit O again and then do dotted. Okay, now it's back to normal. Okay, now I'm going to go to my layout. And the first thing you'll notice is I have, well, A, it's massive, but B, I have, and it's massive because it's an LNA, but I have these measurement things all over the place. So a lot of times these are nice for when you're doing the layout, but they're kind of annoying. So you can hold down Shift and then press K, and that will get rid of all of that. Now, if I zoom in a little bit, I see there's a bunch of dots, and I want to get rid of this. So I can hit E, and then that opens up this display options, and under grid controls, I'll hit none, and then OK. And that gets rid of all the dots. Then I can hit F to fit it to the screen, but you can see it still looks kind of small. So I can do the same trick as last time. I'll hold down the right click on my mouse, select the area I want, and then let go. And that'll zoom in real nice. And then now, if you're using the VM, you can click over to your Windows screen and then just screenshot. Or here, I'll use the screenshot function. I'll do select area to grab, take screenshot, try to select all of this. And then you can save it, or I'll copy it to my clipboard and send it to myself again on Teams. And if I close Cadence and open up my presentation, go back to my Teams, grab this, copy the image, and then I can go ahead and paste it in. Now, the other thing you should always do is give dimensions. So, because right now we have no idea how big this is. Is this huge? Is it tiny? And so if I go back to Cadence, I'll use my K for measurement. And I want to find the widest point over here, which looks like this edge. And then I'll go all the way to the widest thing over here. So this one is 819.2, so I'll round it to 819. Then select the top and go, I think this is the farthest point. So 295.46, so I'll round to 295. And so 819, okay. So I'll put 819 micrometers by, I think it was 245 micrometers. And I like to do the dimensions like this, X and Y, because it's a lot easier to think about than like if I multiply these 819 times 245. Okay, I could also tell you it's 200,655 micrometers squared, but that doesn't really make any sense. So I like to use this, and then probably also label what it's for. So common source generated A. I think I had that term right. Okay, and the last thing, let's add some results. So first, what type of results are these? So maybe I'll put results, And then I'll specify that this is an S parameter simulation, and it is frequency range 3 to 7 gigahertz. So 3 gigahertz to 7 gigahertz. And then we can go and get our screenshots. Let's go to Cadence. And here's my results. Now, there's probably other ways to do this. I think you can do like a file, save image, and then you can replace the background with white. Yep, just like this. So you can go file, save image, replace background color with white, copy to clipboard, and then there you go. So that's one way to do it. The other way to do it is you can go into your home, or maybe let's just go with that, and I'll show another way at the end of the video. Okay, so I sent this to myself. I'll open it on my Windows screen here, copy it, and then paste it in here. Then another thing is right now it doesn't really show like what we're looking at very well. So what I want to do is add some labels to this. And so if I go back to my Cadence screen, I see that this is my noise figure, S11 and S21. So S21, all right. And so my presentation, I'll add, let's insert a text box. I'll say S21. Just place it like here. NF is usually stands for noise figure. And then down here, I'll put S11. And now it's very clear what is, or much more clear what is going on. So yeah, I'd recommend adding some different labels like that and probably make these bold as well to stand out a little bit better. Yeah, so add things like that. So that's the main part of the video. I want to add a couple other comments. So the first is when you're doing layouts like this, I would recommend kind of like pointing out what things are. So if I was doing this, I would add, I like to insert like a rectangle. And maybe I'll put that like around here. And then I right click and go to format shape. I don't know how you do this in Google Slides, but I'll do solid fill and I'm going to pick like a kind of grayish color and then make it like 80% transparency. So it's pretty much transparent. Then I'll go line and add a solid line and I'll make it something really bright so it's easy to see, like yellow. I'll make it real big. And I also like to make it dashed so it kind of stands out. Maybe yellow is not the best color here, but I'll do something kind of like that. And let's say I'll copy it and add another one. Dashes might be a little bit big, but like over here, you can add another one. This is especially good for complicated layouts with a lot of stuff going on. Because when you look at a layout, it's like, what the heck is going on? Who knows? Only really you know, your audience doesn't. And so doing stuff like this is helpful. So I can put some little boxes and then I'll add some arrows. So I'll add an arrow like this. And you can do format shape or go over here and let's make this like, and let's try red. I'll make it real big. There we go. That's nice. And then I'll insert like a text box and we'll say MOSFETs. So now when my audience looks at this, they know, okay, these are the, like, here was the schematic, right? I had a couple MOSFETs here and here. Those are all the MOSFETs. And over here, I have this blocking capacitor on the input. So I can copy this arrow, right here. And I can put locking capacitor. And I can add other things for the other bits of the layout, but this makes it a lot more clear what's going on. And in this case, I probably wouldn't put these boxes because it's important that you see the traces for this type of work. But if you have like a big digital circuit that is just like super hard to see what's going on, then the boxes work really well to show like this is my decoder, this is my um whatever, these are the inverters. Like helps your audience know what's going on. Okay, other tip for plots. So I have this thing enabled where I can have a plot like this, but then I have a shortcut where I can make it white and then make it black. And this is nice because if you make it white, you can just right click, go copy image to clipboard. And then if I paste it over here, then it looks all nice. Additionally, when I'm working with a VM, I can click away onto my Windows screen and then just use the screenshot feature from Windows and paste it right into my Word or whatever. So I find this pretty handy. The other thing is I have these nice thick lines here. So to do that, you can go to your home directory, then do get it, and it's going to be .cds init ampersand. I have a bunch of stuff in here, but oh, I have them in a file. Okay. Well, you can add these like line thickness and line style lines here. That will set it to those automatic like thick lines. So if you want this, just pause the video and type these lines into your cdsinit. You can also add, maybe I won't go into the bind keys. If you want to know about the bind keys, reach out to me and I'll add how to do that. But yeah, we won't go into that for now because it'll be too much for this video. Okay, hope this is helpful and have a good one.